So in the store, I was confronted by someone who said she was a manager. She said there was signage out here that said no cameras, but I don't see anything about no cameras. So we just saw someone who came out and followed. I've seen people online on YouTube always using cameras in grocery stores. So I just wanted to snag some of the worst when it comes. So nothing about no cameras. Nothing about no cameras. Nothing about no cameras. So we caught a liar, which I can report, or who I can report to headquarters of Trader Joe's, which I will. She doesn't want me seeing how poorly behaved everyone is in Trader Joe's. There's no signage out there at all. She said Trader Joe's was a private company. I think it's hilarious because I don't know if it really is, but God, there's a million people online with footage from Trader Joe's. Attention shoppers. Let's see. Nothing about cameras, nothing about cameras, nothing about cameras, nothing about cameras, nothing about cameras. So we have a liar fronting as a manager in order to upset people on purpose. I'm here to expose people behaving poorly. So I wasn't even gonna keep it on when I went in, but my handler said, walk in with it, because we want to see what they're willing to do to protect their lives. And I don't care about their lifestyles, but if they're gang stalkers and they like to upset people and they're trying to protect people who purposely do things in supermarkets, like make your life really uncomfortable, bump into you a million times, act like heathens and so forth and so on. I was told to use that word, but that is what it can feel like. Then they don't want people knowing how bad it is here. They still have lots of sales. It's not like they're hurting budget-wise. So, got my vegetarian, I'll stock up on these. Let's see, should I do this, switch this over? The city life at its best. So I was willing to comply with her, even though she made up a rule on the fly. I don't see any signage about. I'm willing to consider that she wasn't lying, but there's nothing outside. So the only reason I'll report this store is because of how poorly behaved everyone is. Normally, I'm a awesome person unless I'm harassed to death. And if I'm harassed to death, you can count your numbers goodbye, your days goodbye, and your numbers, right? So, I'm kind of curious who fed her. We're a private store. We're not allowed to have, no one's allowed, because someone would have to feed that to her very quickly, which means she's a roboted person who's been fed a lot of lies her whole life, which is why she's working at Trader Joe's. No offense to people who have to earn a living and they wind up there. I feel sorry for you, because there's nothing worse than all these immature people having to be rock stars every day. Sorry. And having to play along with all the music at Trader Joe's. And you're shopping, and instead of feeling like an adult, you feel like you're supposed to cut the rug and be in a dance rave, start rocking out. Everybody starts singing in sync. It's like a puppet machine of disgustingness. Trader Joe's loves its customers, and they're cheaply priced for a reason. So I'll go there for water and certain things to make it stretch, but in the future when I move, I could care less if there's a Trader Joe's. Won't even miss it. Was there one in Gainesville, Florida? Might not have even had one. Trader Joe's picks very specific orchestrated and planned communities. Oh, there was one, that's right. They were there longer than Whole Foods. I was gonna say, it's tucked back there in the corner of Butler Plaza. So off of Archer Road. So can you imagine going on through life, always being confronted, and you think you're doing what everybody else is doing, or you're doing it to protect yourself? And I did think for a second, well, Trader Joe's, I don't know if they have cameras or not internally. I know they didn't used to have security guards, and all of a sudden they hired one for a while outside in the parking lot, and then the person would come in from time to time, but I don't know if they even still hire or keep a security guard. It's like mayhem in there, so they might live by a certain philosophy, like it's so cheap that it may not be people might patronize them and not need to steal, even though there are people who need to have food, and SNAP benefits doesn't offer enough. You'd have to have 6 kids and everything in order to get a decent amount for food. $200 a month. So that goes far. That's like a lot of people eat that in 2 days. They'd be surprised if they wrote out their budget. 200 doesn't go that far. I can make something like that stretch, but it's because I've been highly trained to barely consume anything. We are talking, all of my liquids are from 1.5 liter bottles, 79 cents each. So say 4 times 79 cents, and that will last me 4 days of the decent amount of water if I drink the whole tube each day. It could stretch me a week if I'm really not drinking as much water. So I would do tap water, but I live in a building. I would have to get a purifier, and a good one at that, because we have a lot of homeless, and sometimes the water can smell like a little damp towel syndrome, a little something. And it's like, I don't want to drink this water. Most people in the city don't drink from a faucet. They would have a majorly good purifier, and on top of that, if they're in a wealthier neighborhood, then their water supply is probably better than your regular folk out here in these high-rise buildings and stuff. So a lot of people live in these buildings. They're more affordable than it seems, although I would love to move and pay half of what I pay now. I was told to do that because someone was being a jackass on the corner. So we have the walking pedestrian sign, even though the light is red. So this intersection can be a little bit confusing depending on how quickly one light turns green, the other one turns. So it's a whole thing, but I'm used to this intersection. So I don't know. I'll check when I get home, but I didn't notice a single sign that said no cameras, no photos. Now, if a fight were to break out or something, a stampede, a fire, people be on the horn right quick with their photos and videos. Also, when I was going into Trader Joe's, there's a woman who's probably part of the lesbian community who I see every once in a blue moon. She's like super thin, super sharp-ish,